Hey, this is Rock Leach with Social Fire, and today I want to get into money. Oh, I'm going to talk about all the money. I'm going to talk about the church money, your money, Big Mama money, the money hitting the mattress. We going to talk about all the money. Yeah, we're going to talk about your money, not your mama. We're going to talk about your money. So we're going to go ahead and get into this right here. I've got a guest that we're going to have today and released a new book that's taking the world by storm, actually. And I'm so grateful to actually know this person. I'm like, hey, I know him. And just being really honest with you, because sometimes we see things on television of people that done did something, and you like, hey, I know them because they done robbed the bank or something like that. Let's just call it what it is. But what we do here is that as far as Social Fire eChurch, we talk about a lot of different things as far as faith and culture. And y'all know I'm the number one person gonna call out a prophet if they're doing something unbiblical or theologically incorrect, giving an eisegetical perspective on something that should, when the Bible is exegetical. Y'all know me. I'm always doing stuff like that. But I also care about us knowing more about our finances, knowing more about how these are benefit. And we're going to go down through there. And so this person here wrote a book. Is taking the world by storm right now. And I'm glad that I was able to get them on the channel today because this book is powerful. And I want you to know about this book. Glad their schedule was clear. And this book is saying, I'm just talking to myself. If I had to listen to what they said, I wouldn't have heard what my spirit said. Oh my God, that right there. I wish I had an organ. That would preach right there all by itself. Think about it. If I'd listened to what they said, I wouldn't have heard what my spirit said. Now, navigating life's challenges through Network Gateway Faith and Finance series. This is a powerful book, but he didn't stop there. This is his second book. He's also got another book, his first book here, which is The Peace is in the Strategy. Oh my goodness. How many times y'all done had a plan, but you didn't have a good strategy? Oh, we could talk about that all day. I'm going to tell you this. If you got a strategy, that's the gas that make the plan work. And so I want you to get ready. Listen, get you a cup of coffee, get you some tea, whatever you need to get. Find yourself somewhere to sit, get your family in the room, because we got a good one here today. And I call him friend. Many people know him already all over. I'm just glad that he had the time to be able to talk to us because I want to talk about this. I want you to put your hands together for this great person here, pastor. Yes, he's a pastor, Johnnie Porter. Let's give a hand. I'm glad you're here. Man,
Bless you, man.
I'm glad you're here. How's your day been? Want to talk about the day, how your kids been, how everything been? How has everything been?
Rob, it is absolutely outstanding, man. As my friends say, better than amazing, man. God is good. Family's good. Life is good. And today is Friday and payday. Oh,
come on.
It's all good.
Come on. Friday and payday. We all know about payday. Thank you, Jesus. We all appreciate payday. Whenever your payday is, we appreciate it. Listen, I've got you here. And one, I want to thank you for being here. Let me go ahead and say that. Thank you. I know I'm not a massive channel, and I know you could be on any channel with 1 million subscribers. I know you could, but you took out the time to come here. I'm still a small channel. We only have 15,000 subscribers. And we're steady growing, but I'm glad that you took the time to come and see about me and see about the people. And because what you've written, I know you're passionate enough about it because we've talked about it, that you don't mind getting this message out. So I want to say this again to anybody. If you want to go get that book, if you want to get I'm Just Talking to Myself, it's on Amazon. Am I correct, Pastor, there?
It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Go get you a copy today. Now, I'm going to make sure you're getting the right copy because his name is Johnnie B. Porter. Now, you see somebody else with a different book. That's not the one. No. We want you to get on the right book, get the right information. And so we want to talk about this book. Listen, I got questions. Can I be real honest with you? I got questions. I got some you ready for some real questions, man, on this right here?
I'm ready. Let's go.
I got a problem with how folk taking advantage of people inside of the church. You got prophets that's going on. Most of my subscribers know that I did the interview, rather, not the interview, but the video, rather, where I talked about a particular prophet. Now, I'm not making this video about him, so I'm not going to give his name. Taking advantage of a gospel artist, at the church, prophesied over, told her, I'm going to personally pay your bills. I know y'all might be asking, Ron, why are you instigating? Why are you doing this? I'm doing this because I just believe if we had the solution that Pastor Porter is giving us in this book, I don't think none of this would have happened. I think the prophet wouldn't have had to lie about the money that he said he got, and I think that the gospel artist could have just said, you know what, and she did do well. I'm quite sure she's blessed. She might already have a copy of your book, Pastor. I'm gonna go and say that. But I think if we have more of what he's got solutions in this book, what? So my first question is with you right here, Pastor. What made you write this book? What got you to write this? Talk to me. What?
So first and foremost, I'll tell you, at the time of me writing this book, I am not a millionaire. I am not wealthy, nor am I rich, but I understand the strategy. I understand what God is doing. And what made me write this book, particularly my second book, I'm just talking to myself, was when I wrote my first book, I shared it with a close friend. And this friend I thought was going to be happy for me was like, what are you doing now? Why are you writing this book now? Like, what are you doing? You're always doing something. Why don't you just get a job and just focus on that? Why are you just doing that? And it hurt my feelings, to be honest with you.
Okay, and, so can I pause you just for a second? Because so many of us have been there. I cannot tell you that you just told my story from when I first started a church. I'm just saying, I know a lot of you viewers out there have been to that. You going with somebody with some great information. I never forget when I first started church, I said, hey, told a friend that I knew was going to support me. Hey, I'm finna start a church. And they're like, no, that's not you. You need to, that's not crazy. But go ahead. I've been there. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but
this was a good friend that I thought was going to be excited for me. And was really, she was one of the first persons I wanted to tell.
Right.
And so I got chastised in love. You know how we do it in church, tear you up and then say, I love you though, ate my lunch and then wiped them out and said, hey, you all right? And I was not all right. I was wounded and bruised and was a little bit confused and couldn't understand it. And I had to have an internal conversation with myself because it made me want to quit.
Right.
Because if my friend couldn't see what I was trying to do, then what am I really looking at? Am what I looking at really something I should be looking at? And I had to wrestle with that thing. And I called a few friends, and a few friends lifted me, and some says, man, listen, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. And it really encouraged me to have more people say, don't listen to that, until I was able to say, don't listen to that. I needed somebody to help me to say, don't listen to that. Deep down, I knew I shouldn't. Right. But because of the friendship and the connection, I had a hard time overcoming that. But it wasn't long before I snapped out of it. And I had an opportunity to preach. And I write about that in the book at Dr. Barbara King's church here in Atlanta. I don't know if anybody knows who she is, but she was a very renowned, probably the first mega church here in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And it's the Hillside Truth Center here in Atlanta off of Cascade Road. And it's a unique type of church. It's Unitarian and New Thought, and it's not your traditional church.
Gotcha.
So, so by being there, and I had a chance I used to work at this church years ago when I was in school and seminary, and I had an opportunity to kind of have a homecoming moment where I got a chance to preach at this New Thought church.
Right.
Fellow young man, been in church, God in Christ all his life, preaching at a Baptist church now as the pastor of a Baptist church, been COGIC, son of a bishop. Come on, SOB.
Come on.
All the above. Right. I'm at a New Thought church. So, I had to come up with a message that spoke to that congregation. And I had to just kind of reveal to them myself that the power of thinking comes with an internal conversation. And I think most of us don't do that. We try to do that, but I don't think we have a real conversation. And the Bible says that they that worship me must worship me in spirit and in truth.
In spirit and in truth.
And I have to be honest and come clean with myself and with God in that moment. And so that kind of sparked the idea of having that conversation, but dealing with faith, finances, money, and all those type of things. This book just kind of bursted out of me.
Let me ask you this right here. Even going to the New Thought Church, like you said, I know you got strong Church of God in Christ roots. Now, I have roots, but I know you got roots as well. I actually served under your father, Bishop Porter, served there in the jurisdiction, the Lone Star jurisdiction there. And I know your dad served in the church forever. Yeah, I remember you, the drums, Corey. I'm not the drum, but the organ, Corey on the drums, and musical. But I know where you come from. There in Texas, the Bible Belt. Listen, I'm telling you, I've been all over the United States, and it's just different in the South with how church is. But being there with all them roots, Pentecostal strong roots, it's this way. You can't join in. You got to be born in. Come on,
Yeah.
Now, preaching at a New Thought church, were you a little reluctant to take the invitation? And I'll preface that with this right here, because I would go. Now, when I say that, there are places that people would say traditionally, man, you don't need to go over that. That ain't of God, But the way I see it is, anybody with eyeballs, that's an opportunity to evangelize. That's just the way I see it. Jesus didn't, the Great Commission, just by my point, didn't say go into all the highways and, basically, but don't go here. You get what I'm saying? You can preach,
right?
But don't go here, because I'll be with you always, except if you go over here. Were you a little reluctant?
No, not at all, because I had some previous experience with them over the years, and I used to work there as a janitor. And actually, I worked there for a little while as a pre-K school teacher. So I had some familiarity with them. And my friend who invited me, we went to seminary together. He was actually one of my groomsmen in the wedding. My wedding in 2005 with my wife. He was one of my groomsmen, and Pastor Jack Bomar, Bishop Jack Bomar, pastor there. And he actually used to pastor Reverend Ike's church. And it's amazing how years ago we would talk about Reverend Ike, and he was trying to tell the people years ago how to think and how to, apply money principles and biblical principles to their finances and their faith. And so this was a true, almost like, it was like a God ordained moment for me to really, take what my first book was saying and just take it to a whole nother level. And it was just weird. I don't want to say weird. It was just godly that I had that opportunity to do that. And so I wasn't afraid at all.
Got you. Let me ask you this right here. So that was one of the questions. I know there was a part of what I saw in here that really stuck out to me, and it really blessed me. I'm glad that you brought this up in here, because we are a social fire eChurch. Where it pertains to faith and culture, we always have our conversations. That's where we're going to deal with those things that come out of that, as far as the conversation. And you brought up something that I know the church, I'll say, suffered with for a long time because of bad theology. Now, we're going to talk in, and I want you just to be honest with me. You on here, you're good here. You said in the book, and I'm going to quote it. It says, "The prosperity gospel, a widely popular teaching in many churches." Now, I want y'all to listen to this. Widely popular teaching in many churches suggests that faith and generous donations can lead to personal financial prosperity. And then why did you include that in there? Why did you put, talk about the prosperity gospel? Because we know what happened with it, but why did you include that?
Well, there was a conference that took place in 2012. That was the State of the Black Church that was put on, I believe.
Is that Tavis Smiley?
Tavis Smiley, yeah.
Okay.
Tavis Smiley. He had all these bishops and pastors there. And Dr. Barbara King was one of the people who was on the panel.
I know exactly. I got you.
He was on that panel. And so was a couple of the professors at the seminary, Dr. Jacqueline Grant and Dr. Some other professors there, Dr. Glenda McKnight. Glenda Knight, she was there. And so they was having this conversation. And so this conversation between Noel Jones and pastor who used to pastor Barack Obama, Pastor Wright,
Jeremiah Wright,
Jeremiah Wright. They were having this conversation and this back and forth and dialogue about the state of the Black church, and of course, the prosperity gospel was at its height at that time. And I still see now the effects after 2012. We've gotten no further down the road. Prosperity gospel has not proven to be successful. And many of us were often moved and stirred up in the worship experience when we talk about what God is about to do, what he fitting to do, You know, we get caught up in that, and we're always in this state of expectation, waiting on God to manifest something.
Come on.
And it's like, okay, when do we manifest something? I believe faith without works is dead, and I believe at some point we got to get beyond the itching ears of hoping that something is going to happen at some point.
Come on, man,
and begin to apply proven strategies, that has worked not only for the wealthy, but work for those who are willing to give it a shot. And I think many of us are too codependent upon our faith. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that alone is breaking us. That alone is costing us to lose our houses. And guess what? That alone is also costing us to go into heirs property, where we're losing assets that our ancestors fought, died, and worked so hard for. And we're losing them through little tricks and gimmicks that a little document can change. And we're hoping that we can figure it out. And then the last thing, we don't even take care of ourselves, and we try to do a GoFundMe. So it's like these little practices that we do.
Wait a minute. You can't slide that. You can't skate by with that. You come on. The GoFundMe. Oh, I can't let you just skate on by that. You dropped a big gem now. I know you didn't want to go. You was being nice. That's what you doing. Just said it in passing.
I'm trying.
GoFundMe. Talk to me, man.
Well, see, look. The Bible says here in Proverbs 21:20, it says that precious treasure and oil in a wise man dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. And I think we just been devouring our stuff. I mean, we should honor the Lord with our wealth, and even a little bit we got, we're not honoring him with it. You know, there are several passages and stories where wealth is given, and then the sin comes in when we don't duplicate it or multiply it and grow it. The law of reciprocity, we're not following it. And I think that's part of our reason why we're struggling, not only financially, but spiritually. Because think about this, Rob, if you're having to spend all your energy working and pursuing money to take care of your needs, how much time do you have left to give it to God to do the things he needs you to do?
Listen, I'm gonna interject this in there because I hear what you said, and you know me, I'm a stats guy. So let's look at this thing, that the WG, the wealth gap. Let's look down through here. So number one, median wealth disparity. As of recent reports, the median wealth of white households is nearly 8 times greater than that of black households. You know, I'm looking at this. In 2019, the median white household had a wealth of $188,200 compared to $24,100 for black households. You see how crazy that is?
That's nuts.
That is great. Okay, so let's go even further. Home ownership. Home ownership is a primary vehicle for wealth accumulation, is significantly lower among African Americans. The black homeowner rate is about 44% compared to 74% of white households. Do you hear me? This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and so even income disparities. What do you think? And I hear what you're saying. I do. How can we fix this? So, because we're bringing it up, and I just feel like the prosperity gospel, people, you know, name it, claim it, you know, all those kind of things is hurting and actually complementing this wealth gap getting even further.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of our white counterparts won't let this foolishness in their churches.
Right. It gets complicated because we're not actually strategically working together. We have to see
we talk about
strategy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
We're not working together within our ecosystem. We're trying to integrate into other systems, but if we make it, it's only 1 or 2 of us there. Not enough of us there. And we've lost the concept of everybody eats. We've lost the concept of that.
That is okay. I'm sorry. That was good. Go ahead. I forget.
We've lost the concept of everybody eats. You know how it is back in East Texas. If you kill a hog, everybody in the hood getting some of that piece, right? You know, and you know, from crackling cornbread, and not only that, we're gonna have a cookout on Sunday, and somebody bringing something, right?
Come on, crackling, come on.
Yeah, you know, that's how we do it, and I think we've lost that. And one of the challenges is this is the thing: In my first book, The Pieces in the Strategy, I do a chapter. In there's a chapter called Keeping It 100.
Okay.
And there is over 2,500 something scriptures that talks about money and finances in the Bible.
Come on.
2,500 plus scriptures. Okay. And when one of my favorite scriptures comes out of Ecclesiastes 11:2. And if you look at it, it talks about give a portion to 7 or 8, for you know not which disaster may happen on earth. And it's talking about, it talks about diversify your wealth and putting it into 7, but no 8 different types of ventures.
Right.
We lost that mindset. The offering plate is only one place that you sow into. Right? The offering plate is only one place, but you also sow into something else, sowing into couponing, sowing into, like, everybody who goes to Burger King, you get a receipt. Did you not know that when you flip that receipt over, they're offering you a free hamburger if you just give them a couple of minutes of your time in an interview? They will give you a free hamburger, right? And we look down on that. We'll ball the receipt up and throw it away. You see, but my point is that's saving for somebody. You can invite somebody out to dinner and you can pay for theirs and you use the coupon. My point is that is one of the wealth secrets of the wealthy. The wealth secret, and everybody needs to keep this in mind. The wealthy don't spend their money; they spend their benefits.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Say that again. For
wealthy.
I'm a part of the slow church. You got to come on. Say that again.
The wealthy don't spend their money; they spend their benefits. They spend if they get a membership to something, they use their membership. If they're part of a discount club, whether it's furniture and all kinds of stuff, you walk into their house and their house is immaculate. You think they spent top dollar for that stuff? No, they did not. They've gone to property sales. They've gone to auctions. They are spending wisely. And most of us, we go and spend money trying to impress people we don't even know, don't even like us, don't know them, and wouldn't even know them if they came up to us.
How many times have we preached that to people? Most of you folk don't like you, and we trying to impress them. And so why? Let me ask you this, because you said this. Why is saving so looked at as so corny? When I say that, I'm gonna tell you, it's looked at as, because what I thought about is most people are gonna be like, man, let's go out to eat. And if you go out and you like, well, I got these coupons so we can save this. They'd be like, coupons? I'm just saying, people gonna look at, now I'm whipping out the coupons. It's just what it is. Paying for it is paying for it.
Absolutely.
Why does our culture, our, black folk look at saving corny in that? Because couponing and, all that, why is that looked at as so corny? Why does it have that corny stigma to it?
It has a corny stigma to it because it touches a wound in us. It touches a pain point that we were denied even the right to be considered human. And we were denied access to just some of the basic things. And how dare anyone today in 2024 deny us, right? And so we want to look like anything but our ancestor in our past. We want to look like anything. And so there is a video that's floating around right now that is old, very old. I think it launched in the 1940s or something, selling to the Negro. It's how to sell to the Negro.
Wow.
And it talks about how
that's a legit book.
That is an actual video. You can YouTube it right now. You can YouTube it right now. And it said how to sell to the Negro, and they got people shopping. It talks about the white people figured out how we like a certain look, and then how we don't want to be denied certain things. Don't sell us just mediocre stuff. Sell us the absolute top of the line stuff. And to this day, it's still true. We'll spend $300-400 on a pair of shoes that we got to actually walk outside on the ground and grass and dirt on. You pay $600 and you walking on shoes, right? Makes no sense.
See, so let me ask you this right here. So the subtitle suggests a strong focus on listen to one spirit.
Yes.
So can you share personal experiences where ignoring external voices and trusting your inner guidance led to a breakthrough? Can you share that with us?
I do. And what I talk about in that is, the most important conversation you're ever going to have in your life is the one you have with yourself. In everything.
As a man thinketh so in his heart.
You got it.
So is he. Come
So
on,
is
come on,
he.
go ahead.
And so you're going to be having conversations. And so you're going to have counter conversations with people who are not going to hear what you're hearing. Think how you're thinking. And that's why I love the scripture where God says, my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. And with us being like God, we have to adopt that same principle and tell people, first of all, you're not me. I say it like Kendrick Lamar. They not like us, right? They just not like us.
That.
And once you get that into your spirit
Right.
and understand that I am wonderfully, fearfully, and distinctly, I'm uniquely made. I'm wonderfully and fearfully made, that I am a unique masterpiece myself. As the scripture says, I am a masterpiece. So I don't expect people to think like Johnny. I had to get over that. And part of me writing this book was almost a manifest, just telling people, I'm through listening to you. I'm going to listen to me now.
That's so empowering. That's so empowering for me, even to hear you say that. And that's what I love about that, because I talk to myself all the time. You know, they tell you that you're crazy.
You're crazy, right? Yeah. I think you're crazy not to at this point.
You come on, man. Listen, I gotta give you some applause. Well, anyway, I'm just saying. I talk to myself all the time, but I encourage myself all the time as well, and I listen to the experience, because all of us function, see things through the prism of our experiences, right?
Yeah.
And that's why the older that we get, like you said, I think you're crazy if you don't talk to yourself. That, like you said, that was great. But that speaks a lot, because I have to encourage myself. Sometimes when I run up, let me be honest. Can I be really transparent, man?
Sure.
When I started doing YouTube, this was new for me. You know how easy it is to talk to we preachers. We've been doing, you know, what is it? Malcolm Gladwell has the 10,000 hour rule, you know, says if you've heard that before. If you've done anything for 10,000 hours, you're considered a master at it.
Absolutely.
Well, man, I think we probably got 20,000, you know. I'm just saying, we've been doing this preaching and stuff, for, you know, for a long time. And so, but speaking to people is no problem. I can speak to people, no problem. But that little camera, I was struggling with. Ain't no amens, ain't no hallelujahs. So I had to encourage myself and talk to myself and see myself where I wanted to be before I got there.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? And I'm still not completely where I saw myself.
Yeah, you have to say it until you see it. And one other thing, I'm gonna be totally transparent with you as well.
Come on.
Another thing that really inspired me to write this book was my youngest daughter. Her name is Lillian. She has a certain level of autism, but she's very high functioning. But with girls and autism, it's very hidden. It's very covered. You can't really tell a lot of times.
Right.
And unfortunately, you just can't. But with little boys, especially black kids, you can tell with little black boys. But with girls, it's very deceptive and you can miss it. My daughter is a social butterfly to a degree, but she's so different that a lot of people don't really talk to her. So my daughter has gotten to a point now where she just talks to herself. And there are times when she's downstairs and I'm in my office and she's just carrying on a conversation, and it's like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, who you got on the phone? She said, nobody, I'm just talking to myself. And I said, wait a minute, you having a full-blown conversation with responses. And she said, I'm just talking to myself. And she's done recorded something on the thing, and she's talking back at herself because she done recorded. And I'm thinking, this child is brilliant.
Look at that.
Nothing wrong with her. She's absolutely brilliant, but her creativity is on like maximum, man.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. And so I don't see it as a default or an issue. And I said, man, that's a strength. But I didn't want to write that in the book because I didn't want to put that permanently in the book to make her feel awkward or anything like that.
Right.
But that's why in the dedication, you see a special dedication to my children. And I'll tell you that if you read that dedication, I'm actually speaking directly to my youngest daughter.
Okay. And then our children do influence us as parents, you know. God knows they
all
do.
of them.
So the title actually mentions navigating life's challenges. I mean, what are some significant challenges that you face, you know, that your faith helped you to overcome them? Now, I know you got plenty of, you know.
Yeah.
But as it pertains to, you know, of course, this book, stuff like that, money and, you know, the concepts and the ideas that you have in the book, you know, what do you got?
Well, I tell you what, man, I talk about network marketing because I am a network marketer. I believe in networking because I'm a fellowship guy. But
Okay.
also I'm all about co-opting and doing collaboratives because I believe it was the type of mindset of people working together, doing collaborations and co-ops that created Black Wall Street. I believe it was that same type of mindset that caused Jesus to say, hey, drop your nets and come follow me. He got 12 recruits. And I talk about how Jesus's calling of the disciples is very similar to network marketing, where he got them together, he taught them the product, and he says, now go and run with it. And look at it. The church has grown exponentially in that same capacity. And I talk about that and I say, okay, now for the church, we've been in this whole prosperity gospel thing, but we've yet learned how to work together. You got pastors on every corner, and yet they can't talk to each other, don't have any real relationship with each other. We can meet and do pastoral anniversaries, but we cannot come together and talk about business, cannot talk about money, cannot talk about the blighted houses in our neighborhood. We can't talk about building a park so that our people can come. We haven't even come together to build a nursing home for our aging saints. And they used to go to this church, and we used to do fellowship together. Everybody knows the sisters from this church. We know Mother Williams, and we know Brother Benny, and all those different people from the different churches, but they get old. We don't know where they end up at. They disappear because the kids done snatched them off somewhere and took them somewhere, and we never see them again. So my point was, network marketing is really a practicing opportunity for us to learn how to come together and work together. And we always talk about that. So you talk about those type of challenges. I thought about one of those particular challenges that really got me, Rockman, was when my dad died. And I came to seminary to go to school, and I talk about ITC as well in the book. And I talk about how me not getting the opportunity to take his place or to at least campaign properly, it hurt me. And it wounded me very deeply because that was my whole purpose with coming here. And so when that did not happen, I wondered and began to doubt if my coming to Atlanta was God ordained or not. And I had to have a lot of conversation with myself.
That's
and
real.
I'll be honest with you, Rockman. I'm just going to tell you, I appreciate you making those phone calls to me and say, Porter, I'm in your corner. I appreciate the email you sent on Facebook and everything, offering support to me in my running. And but that was a major moment in my life that truly hurt because it was my destiny. I thought my destiny was messed up and ruined. And so that just really wounded me. And Church God in Christ, you almost have to be an old man before they make you a bishop in this church. I'm just gonna call it like it is. You have to be just about dead before they make you a bishop in the Church God in Christ.
You're right, though. You're right. Listen.
You get an inauguration celebration one year, and next year you see some picture of a cape over a chair saying, "We sorry to announce with the official National Church letter that he's going to be with the Lord."
Right, he gonna be with the Lord. He got to be a bishop for 1 year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But that is the truth.
Yeah,
that is the truth. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that was a challenge that I knew was a challenge because your dad meant a lot to me. I was in his office a few times, especially during the jurisdiction. So a lot of people, when they pass away, there's that significance. But I didn't know. I mean, I'm quite sure I probably thought it did, but I didn't know the depth, of you moving to Atlanta and was going to fill those shoes. I get it. I get it, but I didn't know that that's what it was.
Yeah.
And, I'm quite sure that was, and so you overcame it,
Yeah.
What was, what are some details on what helped you? Because that's a hard one, man. When you done made plans, mapped it out, everything like that.
Yeah.
And then the finish line is no longer there. Or new people done showed up and decided to just kill the whole race. And you still in the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I talk about that really in depth in the book. And I tie that all in because it was a process for me.
And if that's something they need to read the book for, because
they're going to definitely have to read the book, but it's
Okay.
definitely in there. And I go in depth and talk about that. And I bring it up a few times. But what I talk about is how I had to redefine who I was. I knew who I wanted to be.
Right.
And I knew who I felt God had called me to be, but God had something else for me. And part of that was me finding something else to focus on, which was faith and finances, business, my career. I focus on that. I focus on growing my ministry. And now I am doing better than I ever have been.
Right.
Again, but it's like I had to work my way out of that. And I think I'm a professional grief counselor. I work in health. I work in the healthcare system as a hospice chaplain. I'm a marriage and family therapist trainee. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all these type of things, and I'm still serving. I'm still working in the church, but not in the capacity that I had hoped. And so, like I said, you hear people say, "Hope deferred is not hope denied."
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, you hear that, and I had to learn to embrace that, because at one point I couldn't even hear that. At some point, I didn't want to hear that. Nothing could console me, because I felt robbed. I felt cheated. I felt like God had done something against me or whatever. And it wasn't that. God, some people thought I was literally trying to fight them. When I say fight them, they thought I was just resisting and trying to, fight because I wanted the title, whatever. But they didn't realize, just like Jacob, I wasn't fighting. I was just trying to hold on.
Right.
I was literally just trying to hold on. And so with that being said, I had to go through that healing process. And what was so crazy, Rockman, was I'm out visiting the sick, the dying, the sick and dying.
Right.
And I was dying myself. I was sick mostly myself. And so here's the sick trying to pray for the sick, the dying, praying for the dying. And that's where I was, man. And God had to, I had to have a lot of internal conversations, just like Johnny. In fact, one of the biggest things that the Lord revealed to me was that when my congregation size started dwindling and got smaller and smaller, Rock, you know how it is when you plant a ministry and it just kept getting smaller for some reason.
Right.
The Lord had to tell me, don't you realize that your ministry is bigger than this room?
And
that straightened me out, man.
Come on.
That straightened me out. He said, don't you realize how many people's lives you touch? You on call, you done visit this person, you help that person, you've done this, you've done that. Don't you realize how many lives you've touched?
Why do we make it so much about the measurement of people, though? I've run into pastors when they ask me about the church, in the past, ask me about the church. They'd be like, how many people are you bringing in on? They ask you that.
Yeah,
and we know it's a level of, so they can figure out how much respect to give me,
Yeah.
But why we do that? And then why can't we see? I'm sorry, go ahead, Al, because I'm finna ask.
No, I don't know, because David got in trouble when he pulled that stunt. Remember, he got in trouble. He was he wound up on the threshing floor, and he got in trouble. And God had to deal with him. He said, "You got to choose your punishment, which one you want." Right? and there's a certain amount of modesty that comes when you start counting numbers and stuff. And I learned over the years too that was another internal conversation I had, that we don't count sheep, we just feed them.
What you're saying is so good. When you say it, it makes me think about my own testimony, especially with the transition of coming from a traditional brick and mortar pastor,
Yeah.
And I know that you said that you're pastoring at a Baptist church now, and I know we're still into the question of navigating those life challenges and different things like that. Sometimes, whenever God gives us something different, in my experience, sometimes it's a little different for us to see and know it's God, because we used to God looking a certain way.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Not the God I know. Right.
Yeah. That ain't how God move. Me and God like this.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
My dude.
Right. But even with so when I decided to move away from a traditional church, especially there in Texas, man, people was tripping about respect and different things like that. It's almost like I had died to people. Like they didn't know what to do with me. Yes. Like if I show up at a funeral or something like that and they acknowledging people, when it came to acknowledging me, some of them want to say, well, we thank God for Minister Leach. Like, okay, you didn't have to call me at all, but if you're going to put a title, I hadn't been a minister in years, but
they demoted you.
And it just became weird. You get what I'm saying? And so God had to quicken me and tell me, what is your name? That's who you are. So I'm even now, I could go through the titles and different things. Man, I'm just with rock.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying? Like you said my full name my full first name several times. I don't normally go by that. I go by Rock. And the reason I do that online and stuff like that is because that's what family called me. You understand? Right. I done got all the way away from titles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But why are we? How was that a challenge that you? Because I know if you'd went back, everything would have worked out. You'd have been a bishop. Let's just go ahead and call that what it is. But since it didn't, and then ministry started shifting for you, and then you are now at the Baptist church. And I know a lot of times Baptists don't do bishops. They don't believe in well, I can't say all Baptists. Some do. I've seen pastors turn to the bishop from the Baptist church. That's a little unusual, but whatever. But if the people for it, whatever. That's how they doing it. But how was that? And because I'm saying that because there are other pastors who watch this channel, and some of them are holding on to something that used to be God. Matter of fact, when they did it originally, it was God, but God done told you to move, and you scared to move because this new place is kind of like what Abraham, get thee out of thy country and away from thy kindred. Yeah. And I'm gonna show you. We can't get away from the country and the kindred because that's what we trust. We can see that.
Yeah. And then the thing is, we bring a lot of stuff with us. Hear what I just said. We bring a lot of stuff with us. And it was only until Lot is released that we learn that God don't need a lot to bless us.
Oh, come on, man. Listen.
God don't need a lot to bless us.
Are you referencing his nephew? You reference. Come on, man. You listen. Yeah. When I talk to you, you turning the you setting the preach off in me. I'm just gonna go and say that.
Yeah.
Say it again. You don't need a lot
of our preachers, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wrote this book. This book, both book 1 and book 2, is written to preachers.
Come on.
Is written to preachers, for preachers, by a preacher. I'm really speaking to the preacher. I'm speaking to the pastor, because many of our pastors, I feel, have set their vision on a shelf, and it's been collecting dust because they don't have enough money to fund the vision.
My God, that is good.
That's why I'm talking about. That's why I'm talking about network marketing in the way I am, because that is one of the most affordable entry points to getting into business, and it is one of the most smart entry points where all of us can connect and work within a certain framework. And not only that, it will fund whatever it is we're trying to do independently.
Now, why do people fear network marketing?
They fear it because it hasn't been done with ethics. It hasn't been done in a kingdom mindset. It hasn't been done right. You see, when you do it right in the spirit of a collaboration or a co-op, or cooperation, like black farmers did, like the black banks. People don't even know that the black banks were created by farmers, right? And not only the farmers, they came together to put their money together because white people wasn't lending it to them.
Right.
And there's nothing, we don't have to worry about that now, but there is nothing wrong with taking care of your own, right? It's nothing wrong with having your own. We have Chinatown, we have Hispanic stores, we have right here in Duluth, Georgia, we have a whole Korean community. That's all Korean, everything. Korean subway, everything has got Korean writing on it, right? And so there's nothing wrong with having a community that takes care of itself. And unfortunately, the Muslim keeps preaching this, but nobody's listening, right? I don't feel like I need to go to the extreme of becoming a Muslim just to be able to be self-sufficient as a black people. And I think that the biggest conversation that we're not having, pastors, is that we're not showing the people what W.B. Du Bois said. He said that the black church is and must always be, as it always has been, the social community for the black community. It is a social center for the black community. And so that means that when we begin to focus on us, and concern ourselves with what we got going on, then we can actually have some power. In fact, the very formula of power is organized people, organized money. You organize the people, you organize the money. That is the definition of power. Because then you can tell people what you want. And guess what? People will check in with you. So when you got a whole city, you got one city where the pastors are collaborating and working together. Guess what? You better believe before that city do anything and change anything, they're going to have to come talk to you.
Come on.
That's
Come
power.
on.
And that's where, again, a lot of our pastors don't realize that if you move from your church community and you go and move somewhere else and that community don't even miss you, you have been ineffective. You have done nothing. If they don't even miss you, you have been ill-effective.
What is the main thing that you want people to take away from this book? What is the main thing? Like,
so,
how do you envision it impacting people's lives? Because just me reading and stuff like that, I keep getting stuck on nuggets and different things that, I end up taking notes and I end up a whole sermon off something you done said inside the book. It's like, Lord, can I get through this? What do you want people to take from it?
Well, you know what? It's quite interesting that you said that, because I worried about that when I was writing it, because that's why it got long, because every time I would say something, it would spark something else. Yeah. And so it's really a conversation, and I'm working on an audio book right now. The first book is in an audio book. This one hasn't been done so yet. But what I want people to take away is talking to yourself is where you start. Don't worry about what somebody else says. When it comes to network marketing, partner with the right person, right? Everything is a network, right? And I even talk about the building of a net. I talk about the strategy of fishermen using nets and how they put it together and how each piece actually makes the net strong, and how one piece can unravel, can cause the integrity to become unraveled, right? But the purpose of the net is to capture stuff, right? How do we keep people from falling through the cracks socially? We're getting ready to be upon an election right now. Right. And I think that the church has to be more than just a platform for social, for political speech, right? We have to become more than that, but we should become an impact. And this is the thing, Rob. I'm sharing a program called MWR Financial, right? And I'm talking about this program because I wanted to go back to the 2012 conference and talk about what they were saying when it came to prosperity gospel. And show that we can have an actual solution that will actually take us further than that conversation in 2012. We haven't made any progress, but if we take something like this and begin to work together and collaborate, now my success is helping you. But not only that, you're now able to have the funding where you can take care of things. But not only that, the pastor now can retire without having to work himself into the ground and have absolutely nothing.
That's
I can't tell you how many pastors Rock, I can't tell how many pastors I've had as a hospice chaplain who didn't have nothing.
I know.
And they had to have a indigent burial in a pauper's grave, and they preached to thousands and millions of people. I can't tell you how many people I've served. I've had civil rights leaders right here in Atlanta, Georgia, that I have been their chaplains, and they were eating almost dog food. They didn't have food, man. They were poor and impoverished. And listen, making a difference in the world socially and out here marching on the front lines, they don't pay you for that, right?
Right.
So what if your money was actually working for you? Couldn't you get out here and now make a difference? Could you get out here and do videos and all these kind of things like that, knowing that your money is actually making a difference? And what we talk about is, helping people set up a trust. Like, for instance, we hear all this conversation about trust, but what people don't realize is not all trusts are equal. So it matters that you get the right type of trust. So I talk about the English common law trust. I talk about setting up a complex trust where you got a business trust, a family trust, and a foundation trust. And the church should be 100% interested in the foundation trust, because that's how you now create endowments where wealthy people will give to your endowment, to your cause. And now your family is straight because they got a trust. Guess what? You will be rich as the richest billionaire in the world. And on paper, you'll be poor enough to qualify for food stamps. And it's all legal. It's all legal. So these are strategies that I think church people need to do. And what's crazy, Rob, is the wealthy has already figured this out. And they're basically using biblical principles that we, God's people, have not used.
Crazy. And that's something that many people don't talk about. But that whole thing for the trust is, a big thing. I know about it. I've actually looked into it, for my family as well, because I want to make them all beneficiaries of it, because everything the trust is going to own. I'm just going to go ahead and say that, the trust to own. And so it's a way to have it all and not have anything at the same time.
Absolutely. And the wealth has been doing it for years.
For years.
It's protected. It's protected under laws that can't be intruded. It can't be penetrated at all. You're protected. And that's why we call it a bulletproof trust. And so not all trusts are honored, are respected, and treated properly. And that's why you have to be careful. They say, go do a trust by yourself. You don't need somebody. No, you need the right lawyers. You need the right to construct that. And so that's where I think church leaders are not having that conversation, because I believe, just like Nehemiah, and this was another thing, Nehemiah inspired me to write this book too, that there has to be a rebuilding process. And I think the leaders have to lead the way. I think there's a particular part in the book of Nehemiah, Rock, that talks about next to this person was this person. And next to this person was this person. They built this gate. And that's the spirit that I'm trying to convey in both books, to get our pastors to realize whatever issues you got with the pastor down the street, knock it off. Go talk to him. Collaborate. Take them to lunch. And y'all talk about this book. Talk about this program. Come up with a dream. And you guys start dreaming again, start visioning again, and then let your people also do the same thing. And just like this business helps the church and helps the pastor, it helps the people. So again, we got to do, I'll put it like this, Rob. I want people to participate in their own rescue. That's the purpose of this book. Right.
Okay. Participate in their own rescue. Listen, I'm sitting here thinking, just because I have my financial thing, and I think about my family. Mine is always geared towards my children and stuff like that. That's why when you brought up trust, I already know. I've done the homework on the Rockefellers and how they're staying rich. I think they have like 70 heirs in that family or whatever, and all of them rich, and they have a particular. You got to go to college. You got to do all these different things here to receive those benefits, but. A lot of times it's not something that's talked about a lot in the Black community as far as how to help us, the thinking that we need to have, the things that we could set up, different things like that. Mindset, you brought up mindset, and all of these things you talk about in your book, which is really, really good. I can't say this enough. If you have not done it already, I want you, just within this video, I want you to go out and pick this up. Do yourself a favor. Do it for your family. Do it for those around you. This is information that could, help the next generation. Not only help this generation, but your next generation of your family. Your children's children. And this is something that's necessary. I know a lot of times we went down some roads that were hard to hear. I'm going to go ahead and say it. It may have been a little hard to hear, but it's all truthful. And this is why I'm grateful for pastors like Pastor Porter here, who've shared this insight, who's giving you the recipe to be able to rescue yourself. Pastor, I appreciate that you said that at the end, rescuing yourself. Isn't it something when you can toss your own self the life preserve?
Come on.
You can, because I'm heavy. I don't need no skinny malnutrition person throwing me a life preserve with a rope on it, and they got to pull me in. You get what I'm saying? I can pull me. So just saying, Pastor, I really appreciate you for that, and I want you all to go out. It's on Amazon. Both books are on Amazon. The first book is called The Peace is in the Strategy. Great book. And I want you to be able to go look at that. I'm just talking to myself. If I had to listen to what they said, I would have heard what my spirit said. I wouldn't have heard what my spirit said. These are all books taking the world by storm right now. And I don't just get anybody on here, but this is not about sales, because it could be about a check, but it's about your inheritance. These are about your inheritance. And we want to make sure that you're having these. So I want you to go out and pick up these copies as soon as you can. Pastor Porter, I really appreciate you. I got to give you the applause again. We appreciate you, coming out here. I'm trying not to hit my mic with my hands. I be praising God and popping the mic and all kind of stuff. And this was good. Y'all should be able to tell they're a preacher with all that lot, what you said. Listen, the preacher in my mind ain't gonna let it go. The lot, I'm just saying, there was so many things in here that were powerful. It's hard for me not to go to church on stuff. When I hear good stuff, it's good stuff. Pastor, thank you for being a part. And Thank you for doing this for me. Is there anything, how do they follow you? Where do they connect with you at?
Well, I'm on Facebook. You
Mhm.
can look for Johnnie Porter on Facebook. You can also find me on, I believe I'm on Instagram as well, just under Coach Johnny.
Okay.
You can find me under there, and I'm on YouTube as well.
Okay.
But you can always email me at johnny@workwithcoachjohnny.com.
All right. Say
Um,
that again, just so they have
yeah,
it.
Johnny, and that's JOHNNIE, Johnny at workwithcoachjohnny.com, because I like to help people along the way. So if you reach out to me, you need help, you want to have a private consult, especially if you're a pastor, I'm happy to sit down and meet with you, talk with you. And in the book, I will tell you,
Go ahead.
there's a lot of contact information there. And also there are links and QR codes to the actual program I'm referring to. And just letting you know that this company is absolutely amazing, and we have a group of pastors that meet every Friday night that go
Okay.
through it as well. So we have a community that works already with
Good.
pastors and leaders. So I'll be happy to connect you to that group.
Good, good, good. Well, listen, you've heard it all here, and there's no more. There's no more whining after this video. You watched it. There's no more whining because now you know how to win, and we want you not to be a whiner. Pastor Porter is trying to show you how to be a winner. And so, Pastor Porter, once again, we thank you for being a part. I really appreciate you for being a part. And you all jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. And let's get this all going. Make sure you go out and get you a copy of the book. Get both of them. Matter of fact, go on and buy one for yourself and send it to your friends and different things as well. Buy them a copy as well. And so you can bless the whole hood. Let's do that right there. Bless everybody. All right. God bless y'all. Get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. All right. Be blessed.